Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Thinking Modular. If you didn't see the previous video, which is an introductory video where I summarize some aspects of this series of videos about thinking modular, I can just tell you in advance that it's about feedback loops, is about thinking in a non-linear way, and also use this feedback as a tool to generate music materials that somehow are connected to the process itself. So it's going to be a very short video, I believe. So I have here a track, a MIDI track with a drum. I have some a bass rhythm. I like to explore these rhythms. I could just do it like this, or do it the 4/4. I'm gonna leave it like this for now. Okay. And this is just a bass drum. Okay, just to have also a reference. Okay. And here I have a Reaktor ensemble. Also, you can name it as a patch. And as you can see, I have comparators. They are very important models. Everyone should have at least 2 in your modular system. Also Boolean logics that also work very well with gates, so we can generate any sort of rhythms by combining 2 channels, sending different gates, and then depend of the algorithm and or nor that you can actually look at the information that is displayed on view on info. It has a description of what each algorithm do, but I think this is a very common sense because it's also used in programming language. So I'm not going to waste too much time on that matter. Okay. And I have something here that it might ring bells. It's called mathematical. Mathematical, yes. It sounds like math from Make Noise, and it's actually a dual function generator. It doesn't have the extra 2 channels that you can use as a attenuator also, and do all sorts of tricky parts as comparators and clock divisions and so on. And the result is something like this. So as you can see, there is a loop going on, but it's like it is so lively loop that you can actually don't perceive as a loop, and is bound to this process here. Okay, everything happens in between this section here. That there is a feedback loop going on. And as you can see, if you change the values, also change the behavior. Okay. So I'm going to explain you briefly what it's all about. So I'm going to delete some modules. I'm going to delete these, and I'm only going to leave the sequencer, and the sequencer is passing through an attenuator. Let me just hide these for a moment, this tab here. So we have to go, and it's gone. So it's passing through this attenuator because if you don't remember, the sequencer goes from 0 volts to 10 volts, and this is converted to 0 to 127 MIDI pitch information. And as you can see, my drum is has a very narrow band here working. Okay, this is somehow around C2 until perhaps is an octave. I'm not really sure, but this is the whole range of the keyboard from 0 to 127, and is only highlighted here. Okay, as you can see, also here on the editor, MIDI editor. Okay, so somehow I have to work with my attenuator, like with offset and attenuator, to try to frame and circumscribe these values between. It's like a kind of I don't remember the name. To scale is to scale the values from 0 to 10 in order to be circumscribed to this region here. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time. So we need a math or a rampage, or in this case the name is mathematical. The mathematical, okay. For those that don't know what is a function generator, I'm going to put it here for you to label. Now it's working as a loop. So it has a rise time, okay, and it has a now the fall time was on 0, so as soon as you reach, it goes to 0. But I can also increase this value, and you see it's starting doing a different fall time. Okay, and the table, as I told you, you can output different kind of waves, not exclusively a rampage, and they are actually bound to this fall time. It's like a kind of a waveform generator plus a dual function generator, which actually I challenge someone, or if this already exists, please tell me, and I will buy that model, because I think it's very useful. Of course, you could achieve this with some amplitude modulation, but it would be nice that it was already included in the model itself. So I need these, but I need these not working autonomously. I need to actually be synchronized with my gate clock that is running on 8th notes. So I have to connect the gate on the gate, and as soon, and now I'm going to connect here the gate also on the scope for you to see, and as soon and as I start playing, I have to put it now on hold. So as you can see, now if I put the rise time all at 0, it just generates, because the way it works here, I'm going to freeze it here. The way it works is that as soon as you receive the gate, and it only has the functionality of hold, not just trigger, because it's different. Because as soon as the gate is high, So it takes a certain time to rise the ramp, and then it holds until the gate is high, and then it goes, when the gate is go to 0 again, then it takes a certain time to 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 go back to 0. And you can easily see, for instance, if I increase the fall time, see, only after the gate goes high, it takes a certain time until it goes high, and the same happens with the rise. Okay? Yes, but now as you can see, and I'm going to connect the rise. What it happens here is that a gate is generating on the rise. This means that as long as the ramp is going high, the gate is high, and as soon as you go to fall, you go to the negative. You go to the 0 again. So as you can see here, the same happens to the fall, if you can see on the 4th channel. Maybe you see now the gate is the length of the duration of the ramp, the fall ramp, the falling ramp. Okay. And I can use these, for instance, as a clock division, because this is the gate on the clock is going to be on red, and the clock from the rise is going to be on the next channel. Okay. And if I put everything on 0, it just is synchronized with my clock. But as soon as I start rising, you see, now the gate is much wider and is doing a clock division. And in this sense, for instance, is doing a clock divisions of every 1, 2, 3, 8 nodes. It sends a gate. And this can be verified here. Okay, so now it's sending gates to my sequencer, and every time it goes one step forward, and then it's playing here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now is much wider, the subdivision. Very low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so on, as you can see. So this can work as a clock division. But as you can see, every time it plays on the beat. Okay? And maybe if I want to do some groovy rhythms that are in between values, I can use, for instance, I can use a comparator. And I don't know if you remember how the comparator works, but the comparator has a certain threshold. And every time the values go higher than that threshold, the gate goes high, and then when it goes below this threshold, the gate just closed. And now if I put everything synchronized with the clock, so in red I have the clock. I have to put my comparator in unidirectional because it's doing positive and negative values. Okay. Good. Now, what it happens here is that now is completely rectangular. But if I put it a bit of okay, so now what it happens is that if I start messing with increasing the values, you see that now is not actually synchronized, it's shifting from the poles. You see here? And I can work with values in between of these. And you can verify also these, because by listening it. So now, see, it's like if it's delayed. If I put on 0, it goes along with the beat. Okay? So this is very useful to do to explore values in between these 8 notes. So now, the thing is that now every time this generates a gate, okay, as we can see here on the scope. But now, since I have 2 channels, and I don't know if you realize I have a level here, and if I put on the scope the level, look, if I modulate these somehow, then I also gonna create different rhythms here. Let me just highlight the most important features here. So I want to track these. So now you see that my gate here on the comparator is gonna change. If I put it on non-zero. See? So if I modulate these, it creates different length of gates. Okay? So what I'm gonna do now is, like, instead of having a LFO that modulates these, why, since I have a 2 channels function generator, why I don't actually replicate the same behavior on the second channel? So I would have to connect the gate on the second, and I would have to click here on hold. Okay. And now I'm going to put these on the left side of the function and these on the right side, so I know more or less which channels I'm working. And what I'm going to do now is, like, the output of the second channel go through this comparator. And don't forget, you also have to be unidirectional. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to connect the output of the second channel that is passing through the comparator. I'm going to connect on A modulation channel to actually modulate my first channel. So if I put like this, every time the gate goes I, it subtracts. Okay? And the same I'm going to do for the first channel. I'm going to connect on the modulation B, and I'm going to do exactly the same. Okay? Good. And as you can see, this is going to generate rhythms, because the gate, every time the gate goes I, it subtracts from here the level, and since there is a cross modulation going on, it's going to keep generating different rhythms. So now, since I have 2 channels, now what I want somehow this is generating gates, 2 gates. So what I want to use is a Boolean logic. And the Boolean logic works very well with gates. So if I connect in one channel this one, and in another channel this one, so maybe what I can do now is just use a switch. That is another important module that you also should have on your modular system, because you can do so many things with it. And one of the things is when you have to create some variation on your patterns, nothing better than have a switch. So now the switch is behaving in 1 to 8. So it means that if I put the input, it's going to copy this input to the old 8 outputs. But I want the reverse. I want to connect different algorithms in each input. For instance, I can use like this, and then another one like this, just randomly. You just have to try. And then I have to switch here to 8 in, and then they go here out accordingly to the stage. So these only outputs the first channel, then these only outputs the second channel, and the third channel, and so on. And since I only connect 3 channels, I have to decrease my number of steps to 3. So we only alternate in between these. And now also I need a gate, because every time it receives a gate, it just changes to the next channel. It switches to the next channel in loop. So I'm going to use here my clock division from the clock itself. Let's say for every 4 8 bits, it's going to send a gate, and I'm going to connect this on the gate. Okay? And part of the process is almost complete. And now what I'm going to do is connect, since this is a combination of gates, you can look for Boolean logical operations, and you will understand what I'm talking about. And everything goes from here, from the mix, so I connect on the gate, and then I connect here also on the gate. That works as a velocity trigger. So now if I press play, as you can see, now is about finding sweet spots. Let me just take off the click lock. And of course you can also change the clock to something slower or something faster. And you can also try different kind of algorithms. And try to find a sweet spot by messing up with the comparator. And also the amount of modulation. Okay, so this is basically what you can do. Okay, of course you can also add more functionality to this process itself. You can add another cross modulation, for instance. I can also modulate the amount of subtraction from the comparator. And this would be very easily achieved by using Attenuator. Okay, so where I have Attenuator here we are. So I put it just this one, so I'm gonna put it on the left side so I know. Okay, and from these I am gonna, from this one, then this is connected to the modulation channel B, so I connect it here. Okay, and then I'm gonna use another attenuator, pass the comparator through the attenuator, and this one is connected to the channel A. And I'm gonna put everything on maximum. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is do another cross modulation. So from the output of the ramp on the channel 1, I'm gonna modulate the amount of modulation. Okay, and the same I'm gonna do for the output too. So, and now good. So now you just have to look for some sweet spots. And perhaps try to change the until you find something that you like. So this is about experimenting and messing around. And of course, then you are very welcome to change your drum if you are not happy with this drum and you just want to try another one. And you just waste your time messing around and finding something interesting. I hope you enjoy it, and I leave you with a beat. So you are free to comment, you are free to subscribe and ask questions if there is something that wasn't clear for you. I also, on the future, I'm gonna create a blog that is gonna be attached to my website that is actually on the description. Check it out. I have some music there and some information about myself. So I hope you enjoy this short tutorial and try to do weird music. Okay, I think it's important. We need some weird music. So have a nice day, I hope you enjoy, and you are free to use and experiment these on VC Eurorack or even in your modular synthesizer, because at the end, for instance, this module you can find it, as I told you already, make noise as one, very cool. And also Befaco also has a dual function generator. And then you just have to maybe combine some comparators. There is several brands that has comparators. So that's it. So I hope you enjoy it, and just a bit more of it. Very nice. I think I'm gonna do something about it. So see you soon. Bye bye. Enjoy.